And in the market that we're in now, I can tell you right off the bat, almost every neighborhood that I'm seeing prices correct. Some people would use certain terminology. To me, it's correcting, adjusting.
That's right.
We're seeing reduced. Jeff, can you confirm you're seeing Chase too, that you're seeing a lot of homes listed at a certain price, and then after 10 days it adjusts, it lowers. I don't see those prices going up. Things are sitting on the market a little bit longer than they were in the years past. People are motivated to sell. They're reducing their prices. This is just my experience that I've been observing.
Yeah, if you don't put something on the market right now that's in really good condition, and if you don't price it correctly, it will sit. It will sit.
Yes.
And sellers have to get real serious about meeting the market where the true market is.
Welcome to the Jeff Sutherland Show. Let's grow today as we learn from decades of real estate and leadership experience.
We want you to know that when you log into this show, you're going to get authentic conversation. We're going to give it to you straight, and it's going to be real. Hey everybody, Jeff Sutherland with Chase Waldron today on the Jeff Sutherland Show. We bring on winners every single week. We bring on winners. We got another one today, Richard Norfolk, and Richard is an appraiser. Yeah. First time we've had an appraiser on the show. And what's really cool is he's also a licensed real estate agent. Richard has been doing this for now over 20 years, appraising homes. I'm sure we'll find out when we interview him, but he's probably appraised thousands of homes. I'm interested in that. He's also owned his own company, Allied Appraisal Group, for the last 14 years, and he's certified 6 appraisers. So he has given back to the industry quite a bit. So we're excited to have you here, Richard, today. Before we get to you, just a couple things about the market. Chase, talk to us. What's going on in your world out there? You are hustling like nobody's business.
Yeah, man, it's been good. We've still been working with a lot of buyers. A lot of it's overall Phoenix is in a buyer's market now. Each municipality is a little bit different, but a lot of action on the buyer side. We do have some sellers that are looking to get out there and sell their home as well, so that's good. I've still been doing a lot in the new build space. And I know we talk a lot about all these great incentives that the new build communities are offering, which is true. But there are some communities that are not offering as much. So, we don't want to get it twisted. There are some that are offering not that much. And then there are some communities that are offering a lot of incentives. So anyone who is interested in figuring out what communities they should be looking at, they could be reaching out and let us know. We'll have a conversation. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man. A lot of good stuff happening.
Yep, absolutely. And we subscribe to a very hyper-local project called the Cromford Report. And the Cromford Report is a group of people that have been doing statistical analysis for I think it's a couple decades now. And I've worked with them for so long, and they usually nail it. They nail it in terms of what's going on in the marketplace, and what they're telling us essentially, and the things we're learning from them is that, we could have a softer market for the next few months. Prices continue to go down slowly. We have a lot of supply in the market that needs to be absorbed right now, but we do have supply that's actually inching less and less. Now, we typically have some supply that hits the market in September and October. So what I'm telling you, my friends, is that I've been in this business 25 years. I've seen 4 buyers markets in 25 years, 4. And we're in one right now. And you can never time the bottom of the market. It's impossible. But when we do hit the bottom of the market, you're going to see everybody flooding in, because everybody knows when you're in a buyer's market, and everybody comes in, and then automatically you're going to see prices start to go up. So we have a huge opportunity here towards the end of the year to buy homes, and buyers have a lot of leverage right now. Buyers are asking for new roofs. They're asking for closing costs. They're asking for price reductions, and it's a good time to be a buyer. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk to Rich today. Rich, thanks for coming on today, and tell us a little bit about your background and what it's like to be an appraiser.
It's my background. I've been in the business, like you said, over 20 years now. I agree with you. I've with what you guys had been stating in regards to the market. We'll touch base on that. But yeah, I've been in the business for 20 years now, appraising as a certified appraiser, trained other appraisers. They've mentored other associates. I do appraiser consulting work. We do CPA work, attorney work, every type of appraisal work in the residential industry. We perform appraised over 5,000 homes by now, a lot of homes. We were a high operating appraisal office, fully staffed. We've adjusted now because of the market, everything changes, but I've always stayed in the business. I am now transitioning into the real estate business. I've always wanted to be a real estate agent, and I'm very excited to join your team and learn from you guys and also advise other agents in the field and our CRG team. So super excited to be here. Super welcomed. Thank you, Chase and Jeff, for having me today. And to start off with the market conversation, as you stated earlier, I couldn't agree with you guys any more than what Chase even touched base on with the new builds. As an appraiser, we appraise everything. We appraise new build subdivisions. We're appraising homes with Lennar, Pulte, Taylor Morrison, everything you can think of. And the market's hot, right? It is going, it's high activity. I'm seeing it in every reports that I'm performing. We do these homes, and it's 30 to 40 pages of data that we're providing. So there's a lot of data in there. And like you touched on earlier, Jeff, there's been so much absorption rate in the market, right? There's so much supply and there's so much activity. Rates are starting to get motivated levels. So we're seeing a lot more movement. When you start talking about forecasting the market, it's such a tough one to predict, but I believe everything that you said is correct, as into markets are changing. People are motivated to do a lot more action. We're coming in, a lot of people don't realize too, in Arizona, we're coming out of these slow, hot months, right? And we're about to get into these beautiful weather where people are coming back into the state. I do believe that you do have to start acting on some of these properties and get motivated. So I'm super excited to see what's to come.
Yeah, 100%, man. And so 5,000 homes, man, that is insane.
Yes,
that is
it could be more. It could be more.
It's no joke, man. That's no joke. So what is like the overall, a lot of people, they hear about appraisers, we talk to clients every day about the appraisal process, but what does that look like on your end as the appraiser? I mean, what's the overall process? You guys go out, you do an inspection, and then you look at obviously the comps and whatnot. Can you walk us through what that process looks like so that not only, maybe other realtors who don't understand or don't fully know, as well as the consumer, on what happens behind the scenes?
Of course. And, it's generalized an answer to that question. A lot of people, they don't see us until the back end of the transactions. It's one of the last things you do in the transaction. And basically, I'm sure, and we all know, you guys know what it is, but to the average consumer, what is an appraisal? It's a device that's used to secure the bank's value, to make sure that they want to know the property is worth what you're purchasing it for, what you're selling it for. At the end of the day, too, that's a bank appraisal. But at the end of the day, what are you trying to achieve? You're trying to see what is the current market value, opinion of value, based on a third party that I have no involvement in either side of the transaction. I have no skin in the game, with the exception of the person that's hiring me to provide an opinion of value. Now, how do you arrive at that opinion of value? Because it is an opinion. Opinions vary from person to person, but we are basing that opinion on factual data, market data. A good agent, a good appraiser, is going to observe all of the data in the market, compile it, use human discretion. I don't want to get off on a rant with AI. Great tools with AI. I utilize AI, but when it comes to valuing a property, you need a good agent. You need a good appraiser. You need human discretion to oversee AI. AI is not, we're almost there, but it's not thinking like a human. You still need the appraiser. You still need the agent. That's my end with AI. I'll stop there. There's great tools out there, but at the end of the day, you need the banks. I still have a job appraising, because you need someone to take all that data and base your facts on that data. So at the end of the day, the appraisal is an opinion of value. When you order one, that means that you're going to get a third party, someone like myself, that's going to come out, perform the inspection. We come out, we set the appointment, we come out, we take exterior pictures of the property. We will measure the property. We have USPAP guidelines that we abide by, as into guidelines of ethics and inspections. We have to take some pictures of the exterior, observe any kind of physical deterioration with the property, any kind of outside contributors. If you're back in a busy street, if you're siding a green belt, if the roof is, we won't go into too much of what those inspections tell, but we're observing a lot on a subject property. And that's just on the exterior. This is why you want a human to go inside of the property, observe the property, what kind of updates, improvements. We're scanning through everything. A really good appraiser can tell if a home's been recently updated, remodeled, rehabbed, what kind of improvements you have. We're observing and reporting all of these things. Some appraisers use a clipboard and paper. Some use an iPad. Everybody has different methods, but at the end of the day, the appraiser is going to be there for a short period of time, 15, 20 minutes, kind of just observing. He's not a home inspector. They do a different job. The appraiser's going to observe, report, take all your pictures, and then leave the property. And then we're going to come back to the office and we're going to start typing that report that takes some time to perform. So I'll leave it at that. Sorry, I get on my rant trying to keep you guys awake. Not a whole lot exciting, but it's very challenging. I love it. It's a life career for me. A lot of people ask me, well, you're an agent now. Are you going to still appraise? Of course I am. So
Yeah. And we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but that goes hand in hand with representing somebody, and pricing their homes, right? You have that background of pricing homes, over 5,000 homes, right? Like we said, over a 20-year span, right? So when you're working with, I would say, both buyers and sellers, you can help. You have what to look at, what kind of data to achieve in order to get them at that correct value of either where their home is going to appraise eventually, or where you should be submitting an actual offer of where that value should be. So that's super helpful knowledge to have going into the agent side of things and representing clients. So that's super cool. Typically with agents, right, that are pricing a home, they look at all the comps and the data and tour the home and kind of try to do a similar job, right, to put a value on the home. And they want to give a value that they feel is confident that is going to appraise. So as an appraiser, looking at things like, the actual updates and quality of the home, how much weight does that carry compared to size and location? Is one more important to look at than the other, or are there certain things that, not only consumers, but also agents should be looking at first when they are pricing a home?
Of course. Very, very good question. We always, when I'm training new trainees, and I've done classes where I've instructed agents on how to pull comparable sales, how to get into the mind of an appraiser, how we work, what kind of data we're reviewing. It's very, very similar to a very experienced agent. Your agent should be pulling comparable sales just like an appraiser. You and I both, as agents and appraisers, we have the same exact data. It's how we filter this data. And that's very important. When I'm teaching my young appraisers and apprentices and agents on how to pull, it's almost like calling it bush baked beans ingredients. How do you do it? Everybody asks me, how is it done? And every agent can apply my same technique, which is to simply I can get real technical and put you guys to sleep real quick, but basically you want to apply certain filters. You want to go from a certain proximity to the subject property and a certain radius. And then you compile so much data, and then you're just applying filters to shrink that data. And you're basing it off of your observation at the time of the appraisal. What is the condition of the property, the square footage, proximity, outside indicators, condition, year built. We have a year built range. We're not going to appraise your 1970 home and use 1990 comparable sales. This is where you can get some very misguided values when someone is valuing your home. I strongly encourage, we do a lot of appraisals for pre-listing purposes for agents. The agent has an idea of what the property is worth, and the homeowner has an idea of what the property is worth. And they both have two different opinions. It is a really smart idea to bring a third party in that has a realistic view, and their opinion is based on factual data. And it's a very challenging position. Some people don't like our results, but they're based on an opinion, based on factual data. So there's so much market indicators that help us arrive at that video, so much analyzing it's really going to take some time to arrive at that opinion of value. So it's very important that you have a party that knows what they're doing in the transaction. And not to ramble, but you want to make sure your appraiser is located. Interview your appraiser. Make sure he's from your market area. Make sure he has experience in that area. Does he know? You come over here to the west side. I don't know every subdivision there is to know out here. I've been out here for 20 years. I've seen things build up. I've seen things burn down. I've seen a lot of situational matters. So you want to make sure you interview your appraiser, know where he's coming from.
That brings up a very good point with that, interviewing the appraiser, right? And a lot of these appraisals are done by third-party appraisers, like we talked about, right? And it's typically ordered by the lender, right? So as a listing agent, I mean, you don't really have a say, right? I mean, you can definitely reach out to the appraiser, kind of get an idea, but is that correct? I mean, if, let's say, the lender does order somebody that, maybe is from the other side of the valley, do you really have much of a say as a listing agent to say, hey, I don't really feel like this guy's really qualified?
Yeah, I'd say you're definitely correct. And those situational matters have arisen in the past. And the AMCs, the appraisal management groups that work with the lenders and hire these appraisers, technology has gotten pretty good. They've been able to somewhat geocompetently place an appraiser in the same zip code of that property. So, when it comes to a bank ordered appraisal, they've achieved a lot than they did in the past when I started, which is, you order an appraisal in Mesa and you might get someone that's way from the west side or from Buckeye, and they just don't know the market area. But things have changed. They're geocompetently placing appraisers in that zip code. The real question, I think, too, is when you are proactively getting an appraisal performed before, like a pre-listing situation, or say someone passed away, and a lot of people engage me to do an appraisal report because they don't know the value before they even hire an agent. Okay. Now, what happens when they get an appraisal, they market the home? In a perfect world, the agent comes in, sells the property, they list it at the previous appraised value, around a percentage around that value. And then someone comes in to buy the property and they use a bank to secure the loan. So another appraisal is ordered out of, you didn't hire them, the bank hired them. And that appraiser comes in and that value is way off. We're talking, and it's happened. I've seen it. Now, how do you deal with that issue of that first appraisal holding weight to that second? And that's where you have a big argument of, was this second appraisal done and a good competency level? Can you challenge this second appraisal with this first appraisal? I believe you can. And I've had other appraisers contact me or other people contact me in these scenarios. So getting an appraisal before, you pre-list, they're very productive and proactive measures to take. Agents contact us all the time, and we are excellent valuation experts. It's a very good, but it's not cheap. Appraisers don't work for free, but we don't make a lot of money either. So
yeah. Do you see that a lot, the pre-listing appraisals? And, because we brought it up a couple of times, and I was kind of thinking that because we've done that before. And so I'm curious, do you see a lot of those pre-listing appraisals? And the ones that you do see, are they for a specific type of home, like maybe higher end homes you see get more pre-listing appraisals rather than maybe a $450,000 home or something of that nature?
Of course. Good question. There's so many scenarios that we can go into of why they're ordered. But generally, at the end of the day, for the homeowner not agreeing with the seller, to prove a point, to show opinion of value, there's not, we appraise high-end properties. In these scenarios, low-end properties. So I couldn't say. That's a very tough one. But I do understand your question as into, because I have been seeing an uptick of them. And in the market that we're in now, I can tell you right off the bat that every home that I'm appraising, we must perform this. The appraiser must perform it's called a 1004 MC. And this is a market conditions form that shows what has happened in the past 12 months in the subject market area and in some of the future of actives and pendings and current. There's so much data, right? I won't get into all that, but basically we can see a trend, and we can see the same trend in your reports, and we see in real time, and we're reporting on it. And what is the market doing right now? The market is, I can almost tell you that almost every neighborhood that I'm seeing prices correct. Some people would use certain terminology. To me, it's correcting, adjusting.
That's right.
We're seeing reduce. Jeff, can you confirm you're seeing Chase too, that you're seeing a lot of homes listed at a certain price, and then after 10 days it adjusts, it lowers. I don't see those prices going up. They're kind of correcting, coming down. They're in line with other homes that have sold. They're getting to be more competitive prices. It's very interesting. Things are sitting on the market a little bit longer than they were in the years past. People are motivated to sell. They're reducing their prices. This is just my experience that I've been observing.
Yep. Yeah. If you don't put something on the market right now that's in really good condition, and if you don't price it correctly, it will sit. It will sit.
Yes.
And sellers have to get real serious about meeting the market where the true market is. So it definitely is correcting right now. And a lot of buyers are coming in with very strong offers, very aggressive offers, asking for quite a bit, concessions. We're seeing a lot of new roofs being asked for, a lot of big time repairs that we haven't seen before, because they know they can get it right now. And if you're a seller and you have to sell, yeah, you're going to have to capitulate a little bit right now. And I'm quite frankly, Rich, I'm very happy that the market's correcting. I hope it actually continues to correct, because I literally want the younger generation to be able to afford homes. I think it's really important for our economy. So I don't care if my own house goes down in value. I want to see the market. The market always finds a way to equilibrium, typically, right? And this is exactly what's happening right now. I have a question I want to ask you. I've seen appraisals change over the years, just how it's done. I remember back in the day where lenders had their own appraisers, and that was like kind of a conflict. Right? But let's just role play for a minute. I'm a seller, and I'm talking to you, my listing agent, Rich. Rich, mm-hmm. I just put in $100,000 pool a couple years ago. So that means I can mark up my house $100,000, right? And I know it'll appraise for an extra $100,000. Isn't that true, Rich?
Well, in a perfect world, we all like to think that. We all see these real estate shows, and you add $1 to your house and you receive $2 back. In certain scenarios, I do believe that to be true. When you're adding a backyard, does that add? The main word we're looking for is contributory value. What is accepting contributory value? When you add a pool to a home, of course it increases the contributory value. But in the appraisal world, cost does not equal value. And if you get that concept of, I'm going to go and put in a $40,000 kitchen, and I'm not observing what my other neighbors are doing in the neighborhood. Are they putting $40,000 kitchens in? I'm not paying attention to my agent. I'm not listening to what's going on in the market. I'm just going to do something off of pure emotion because I want it done. Are you going to see those dollars back if it's not a contributory item that the market accepts in your neighborhood? When you go and you put in a $50,000 pool, when people are generally putting in $30,000 pools. I've been in neighborhoods where people put $120,000 pools in a $300,000 house. So you can see that it's not going to equal, your dollars are not going to equal that kind of contributory value. It's a very good question. A lot of people don't like the answer to that question. It's not my job to, I'm a little bit harsh on those. Once I present that to them of how that works, cost is not equals the data just doesn't they're not too happy with me, but I'm not in the popular game when it comes to that.
Well, so Rich, what about this beautiful view I have of the Santan Mountains or the White Tank Mountains or whatever? How much does a view factor into contributory value?
That is we're in a different conversation there. Chase touched on some stuff, and I don't mean to get off topic of your question, but
Yeah, no problem.
this is where the new builds come in. There is so much action. I can't disclose certain information and clients I work with. New builds are an exciting time right now. New builders generally, there's a base price, right? When you go to buy a home, they always give you the base price. And that price seems to fluctuate. It always has been on the trend of going up. New builds have been going up. And now it's very exciting because the new builders are competing with pre-existing homes on the market, older homes that are built, and they have been on the tick down low. Their base prices are finally being reduced. It's very, very exciting times for new home buyers to be able to have the possibilities of being able to buy a new build home. And the reason I segue into this conversation is because we go into views. These new builders are putting a certain price on certain views. And guess what? They get to make the price. You want it, you buy it. Proving those prices sometimes is very difficult to an appraiser. When you build a home, a brand new home, and you put it right up against the mountain, there has to be market acceptance for that new builder's lot premium. And we like to call it lot premium. That home that you were just discussing, Jeff, that might back up to the mountain has lot premiums. When someone built that home, it was tagged a lot premium. And it's the appraiser's job to identify that. The market accepts that contribution and those views, and it's the appraiser's job to adjust. Every property is different in their views. No property, you can't say just because I backed the golf I should be getting $50,000. It's just not the case in every single neighborhood. It varies, and it's the appraiser's job to use what we call as a match paired sales analysis. See, I'm boring you again, but it's we're using these techniques to go and give and take what's weighted higher, what's weighted lower. And sorry for my rambling. I can go all day with these, but they're very good questions. But I promised you short answers to short answers to short questions. But appraisers, that's why we're not too exhilarating to talk about. You kind of want the short answer, and there is no short answer.
This is good stuff, man. And I'm learning a lot just from this conversation. So I appreciate it, man. And I appreciate you going into depth on these. Now, for somebody who does get an appraisal pre-listing, right? How long is something, and I don't know if there is an answer to this, but how long is something like that good for, right? I mean, the market's ever changing, right? I mean, how long would somebody say, okay, yeah, this is there an amount of days that appraisal is good for and accurate?
It's an excellent question that I get asked almost on a daily basis. And when I have someone that engages me into an assignment, some appraisers will just pick up that phone. You tell them you need an appraisal, they'll give it to you. And I do. That's a great question, because when you involve an agent into that question, they're asking these questions. A homeowner, they will ask a question. They will want an appraisal. And I'm a different type of appraiser. Consider myself a good human being. So I will ask these questions. What are your appraisal needs? What are you trying to achieve here? Are you trying to know what the property is worth because you're going to market your home within a month? And within this conversation, I'm learning from this person that is engaging me in this assignment. No, we're thinking about it. And we're thinking about listing in 3 months. Now, I consider myself a good person. So why would I let you order an appraisal from me right now when then the market is changing constantly? Anybody that tells you that this value is going to be the same for a certain period of time is just incorrect in a changing market this fast. So it's a great question. I would assess who my client is, what are their needs, and then I would be able to judge how long that appraisal in the mortgage industry, that appraisals, what I'm hearing, I'm not a mortgage officer to fully disclose what their requirements are. They differ from each lender and bank. I see they're good for 30 days. That's very strong, but they start to question after 60 to 90 days. And do you really want to be gauging your opinion of value off an appraisal that's 3 months old? Appraisers do have the option. You can get an appraisal now. And if you wish to get another assignment in 3 months from now, will that appraiser offer you a discounted appraisal fee to do it again in 3 months? There's a strong possibility. I do offer those discounts. We still have to treat it like a new effective date. And those are still two assignments. So one has an effective date of this day and one has an effective date of that day. And so there's a possibility, will you get two different values? You may not. There's a strong possibility that you may in this market. What's the market doing right now? Is it going up or down? Is that value going down? Or is it, when the rates change, will the values go up? It's very exciting times.
I've always been told that appraisers go back 90 days. That's always kind of been the thing. I've always been told they go back 90 days and they start at the subdivision level and they kind of go out from there, a radius search. But if you think about it, if you go out 90 days and you look at closings 90 days back, that particular contract was written 30 to 45 days prior to that. So you're really about 45, you're about 115 days out. Right, which is a big difference, especially in a market right now, a declining market or a highly volatile increasing market. I mean, how can you really make a very good comparable with that kind of a delta in time?
Right. And that's where this human discretion comes into what we're discussing. The appraiser is going to observe these prior listings and base his price off of homes that weren't in duress. They weren't a short sale, lender owned. The computer does recognize some of these things, but a good appraiser will question some of these outliers. Why did this home close so low? Why did this home close so high? We investigate, we analyze, we ask questions, and we will call agents and ask them, hey, this came, in pretty low. Was there a reason? And sometimes it's not in their listing. So, it's very important, again, why you have an experienced agent that will ask these questions and analyze. To just pull comps and say, hey, it's worth this because of comps. I've seen that mistake made a lot in my career, and I've seen really good agents. And then I've seen agents that just that don't analyze. They don't have any support for their list price. And when you have support, it's a strong ally for you. And data is great to have.
How long does it take you to do an appraisal? Typically,
they're making it harder for us. I was just in Las Vegas there's a big appraisal convention and all the appraisers get together. There's some pretty big, sorry to go in depth a little bit into the appraisal industry because it's about to change. I've been doing it for over 20 years. And for the first time in 20 years, the appraisers technology is going to be on our side. We're going to UAD 3.6. The appraisal, we call it legacy mode, how appraisals that you see them now will be changed forever. The GSEs and governments, other people are getting on board to create a new appraisal report where it's going to be a lot of it's digital inputting. The report is going to change on how you view it. It's going to be easier on the eyes for our underwriters and our great country and everybody. It's going to be a universal data set so everybody can view it. So appraising is going through a huge change right now. It's a very exciting industry for myself because generally an appraisal takes days to do. It takes days to compile data. You can't just do an inspection and come back and type a report. There's certain data that we request that is not at our beck and call. We have to wait for it. And there's certain data that it takes a long time once we have the data to put it in a big report. And technology is changing now where we are able to use these outside tools to help us arrive and type up our report a little bit faster. So in today's day and age, to answer your question, an appraisal could last, a couple days, 2 to 3 days to type up. The inspections are done fast. The data is pulled over time. The data entry could take a day in itself. So some of these things, when you order an appraisal, an appraiser is already starting on the assignment. Right when you engage him, he is building that report. A good appraiser, a good experienced appraiser that is trying to get it done. The banks order these appraisals, they want them back in 7 days. And a lot of people say, that's a lot of time for an appraiser. Why does it take them 7 days to do an appraisal? We need every 7 days. We're just not doing your appraisal in 7 days. We're trying to navigate through a lot of other appraisals. I'm really surprised. I suspect that in the future that appraisers are going to need longer than 7 days because of this new appraisal software coming out. It makes us very efficient, but appraisers have a huge learning curve coming up on them. So I would expect to see some delays on these new appraisal reports next year. My office, my company is on top of it. We're going to Vegas and learning. We're meeting these new software developers. We're very proactive on the future. We're trying to get geared up and ready for this new change next year. And I'm also a real estate agent. So I'm really busy. So I got buyers right now looking to buy homes, and I'm doing appraisals still.
That's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing. Let me ask you this, Richard. How much training does somebody need to go through to become a certified appraiser? What does that process look like?
I promise to give you the short answer. All right. So there's 3 types of appraisers. You have your licensed appraiser, and you have your certified appraiser, and then you have your certified general appraiser. Your licensed appraiser is someone that is limited on their appraisal ability. They have the same experience as a certified appraiser, but they're limited. I believe they can't do subsidized loans for the government. I believe they have a limit too. They can't appraise properties over $1 million. If I'm correct, I'm sorry if I'm a little bit off. I could be incorrect on that, because here at my office, we train nothing but certified appraisers that are unlimited in their abilities, with the exception of appraising commercial. So not to get ahead of you, but licensed appraiser is kind of like your least limited appraiser, which is very kind of, not too many people get that certification if you look at the numbers. And then you have your certified appraiser, which is your general appraiser. I am a certified appraiser. Then you have, they do all residential, government work, VA work, every type of appraisal with the exception of personal property and commercial appraising. That's the commercial appraising is held to your 3rd level, which is your general appraiser. He's your commercial appraiser. And generally, they can appraise anything. They can appraise residential property, commercial property. They mostly, you see them gearing into just appraising commercial property. Levels of education, all of them require a college credit hours. All of these levels are required to do at least 1 year of an apprenticeship with a certified appraiser. And the certified appraiser must be an appraiser for a certain period of time. I believe it's over 5 years or 3 years. It could be 3 years. And then your education hours, your 120 your appraiser education hours. But the apprenticeship is the longest and the most grueling educational requirement of all of them. And now with the college education added some years ago, and it's not a full, bachelor's, it's college credits. They've reduced it and made it a little bit easier for someone if you're interested in getting into that career. So yes.
Awesome. That's awesome. So friends, if you just joined us, we're with Richard Norfolk, and he's been doing appraising for over 20 years, over 5,000 homes he's appraised. He's owned his company, Allied Appraisal Group, for over 14 years. Now, here's the big question, Rich. You are now also a licensed real estate agent, and I'm so blessed to have you in our organization. And how's that transition going? And, what makes it so great to hire you? Because, you have all this expertise on appraisals. I would think that people would say, Rich, I'd like to hire you because you really know the value of my home. So tell us about that. How's that going?
Yes. Very, very excited. And again, thank you for welcoming me to your team, Chase and Jeff. And I'm super excited to get into the industry. I have a strong passion with helping people find a home, sell a home. I feel that I've always wanted to be a real estate agent. And to be quite honest, I didn't think I had the experience and the confidence to hold this role that you gentlemen hold yourselves. So I didn't think I earned it. I thought I had to do a lot of work to get here. So I'm happy to be here. I'm fully confident in being able to provide data to my clients and advise them and advocate for them with selling and buying homes and getting into new homes. A ton of market experience where I really am excited to point that experience to really help my clients. So super excited to be here. And it's tough, to answer your question, it's tough doing both. And I'm sure one will eventually take over the other, but appraising is what I know now. And I'm going to utilize that to assist me in helping my clients and my colleagues. And I feel like there's so much more to learn. I'm super excited for the future. I have current clients in the pipeline that I'm already helping purchasing homes. So I'm super excited for them. We're finding great deals out there. I agree with what your statement is earlier. It's definitely, as when I put that agent hat on, I really feel that it is a buyer's market, and I'm really excited for anyone that is looking to buy a home right now. It's very exciting times. On the selling side, it's very exciting also because everybody's coming back to the market. So everybody wants to buy now. It's a huge, I can feel the vibes in the air. They're very good vibes, and I'm really excited to be in the industry and
Yeah. It says a lot about who you are as a human being, Richard, because a lot of people, like in your situation, you could skate through all the way to retirement. You have a successful company. You do very well for yourself. You're a very good practitioner of your trade. But now you're like, you know what? I want to add something else. I want to learn something else. That's admirable. A lot of people would be like, no, I'm good, but if you're not growing, you're not dying, right? Or if you're not growing, you're dying, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I got to keep going forward. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, what a joy it's been to have you here. And I'll give you the last word. Anything that you wish we would have asked you, Richard, or anything you want to share with all the people that watch this show? We got people around the country, real estate agents, non-realtors. Anything else you want to share?
No, I mean, other than that, that I just hope that doing this podcast is, I love what you do, Jeff. I love you've educated me. There's so much to learn from you guys and Chase and Chase is hungry. Jeff is experienced. And then I'm like right in the middle. So I'm hungry and experienced, but I have so much to learn. And I'm so excited to be a part of your guys' team. And I think that anybody that's watching this podcast to take away from this is to reach out. There's so many agents out there these days, and not to say anything negative, there's great ones out there, and there's a lot of them. And I think what really defines us three, but between the rest of them, is market experience, combined minds, just combined, colleagues working with each other, being open to listening of what their clients need and learning from each other. And to any clients out there, is just, you really want to vent your agent. As an appraiser, I strongly advise you to get the right agent. I come from a world where we used to say, oh, agents, they're everywhere. They all know this, but it is very important. I've learned more than ever as becoming an agent that you need an experienced agent, and you need somebody to assist you in your transaction. They are worth every penny and gold of what they provide and can give you. So super excited to be working with you guys, and super excited to help our clients. And I'm here for you guys if you ever need me, and I'm super excited for the future.
So Rich, it's been really a joy having you here today. How can everybody get a hold of you?
Of course, I can be reached through my email at alliedappraisalgroup@cox.net. And you can feel free to reach out with any questions you have through that email address. Or you can contact me for real estate needs at richworksforyou@gmail.com. And I'm excited to hear from everyone.
Fantastic. What a joy to have you here today, Rich. Thank you so much for your time. And we'll be signing off for today. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Hit us up for more subscriptions. We're getting towards 1,000. So thanks for all your support, everybody. Take care.